What's up, homies? What's up, homies? What's up, homies? Welcome to the Knowledgeable Homeowner Podcast. We pick the brains of industry pros to unlock the trade secrets of homeownership. Our mission is simple: to turn everyday people into knowledgeable homeowners. What's up, homies? Welcome back to the Knowledgeable Homeowner Podcast. Today with me, I have Contractor David Colon, owner of Husky Design Build. What's up, man? Welcome to the barn.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I've been seeing you post. We have some mutual friends, and one of the things I noticed is you have a lot to say. And on this podcast, the reoccurring thing of I'm trying to protect homeowners from getting taken advantage of. And I found there's a synergy with us with that. A lot of what you talk about is protecting homeowners, and then they do get taken advantage of. And a big reason I do this podcast is exactly that, is I want people to, I say it almost every episode, I don't need them to have the knowledge to roll their sleeves up and do it themselves. I just want them to have the knowledge to know what they're supposed to be getting and to not get taken advantage of. So hearing you post about your stuff, I'm like, okay, I definitely see the synergy there. So just to start off with that, I definitely see the connection with that. But before we get into all that, I want you to take a second, tell the audience your backstory, how Husky came to be, how you got into the position you're in now. And I know you run the business with your wife too. So talk all about that.
It's deep stories, I would say. So David with Husky Design Build, I would say my mentality is not a contractor. My mentality is construction manager. That's what I've studied my entire life, I would say. I end up as a construction project manager right after school, and I basically just took construction management principles and I'm bringing it into, because I built Avalons, I built Beechwoods, built Wine Ranch Village, did probably close to 300 million in construction costs, maybe I would say a little bit above that at this point. And I started to see, and my role as a construction manager is I'm not doing the physical work. That's where I guess people have this disconnect. I'm managing construction. It's a big difference. And
I just think off the bat, you saying that and setting the intention is one of the first steps that there's a lot of pure general contractors. They're general contracting. They contract everything out. I just wish they would be upfront about it. And I think that right off the bat, the first thing you say is that's what that is. Yeah.
I'm very transparent in my entire process with my clients. That's the differences that you'll see. I would say a lot of GCs, they tend to beat around the bush. They're not really being as transparent. And for me, it's just my client has this goal, whether it's kitchen, bathroom, full home, whatever it is. Why am I beating around the bush? Just let's get direct. Let's get to this objective as quickly as possible. And that's all my mindset is. Because the more we're beating around the bush, the more we're wasting time. And I'm very direct in the way I manage construction. And I will say, so at this point, I'm not fully managing. I'm actually building out carpentry in-house.
Cool.
I had a lot of issues with carpentry where it just got to the point of stop subbing this out.
Yeah, let's bring it back in, control it.
Exactly, because let's just be honest. Contractors, they'll tell you they're doing something and it doesn't get done. And what I do is I need it done in a specific way. We're detailed, we're pinpoint. And guys were telling me, oh, it's done. And then I show up on site and it's...
Well, they're not expecting you to know what you're looking at. Yeah. It's done to what standard?
Exactly.
And you clearly have a standard that you want to uphold. So.
Yeah, I would say I have an extremely high standard. I've done this at the highest level. I watched plumbers, I watched electricians over and over again. That's the management portion of this all. When you're watching, and it's different crews every time, and you'll see this crew, they put no preparation work in, and then it becomes shoddy work.
Yeah, you could see the writing on the wall, kind of,
Exactly. And then this crew, they're putting in that prep.
And the outcome is there.
Exactly.
So I want to circle back to, not to cut you off, it's just that, so I do, I work with a foundation called the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. He's actually the guest that's out right now is Ryan Burnett from Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. He's a plumber, a contractor, and the whole nine, but he also has the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, which is helping give people alternatives to career paths without just going to college.
Correct.
And there is a lot of multifamily builders in there just through his connections. And recently, one of the kids talked about, there's a lot of young people, one of the kids talked about wanting to become a contractor. And they're getting him in with one of the multifamily builders to do project management. And they're like, look at the big picture. When you're in your 30s, you'll have so much experience with so many bigger jobs. Running a single-family residential project is going to be baby food at that point. So it resonates with me with what you did. So I want to circle back to like your experience before Husky. Like you went to school for construction management?
So I started out in a construction management engineering program.
Nice.
I ended up with a business management degree. I felt that program was geared more towards engineering, which I believe that's your background.
Oh, so I've become an engineer.
Yeah.
I came up as a carpenter.
While I was in school, I did a couple of internships, and I saw my passion was construction management. It wasn't the engineering, and I felt that program wasn't giving me what I needed for construction. It was gearing me more towards becoming an engineer, and that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be more of a
Isn't
construction.
it funny how it works, though? Is like you have to go out and try it and do it. And
Yeah.
good thing you made the pivot, where I see a lot of people stick it out. It's like, oh, I already did the credits, blah, 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 blah. So you had to see what you like and you didn't like. So you realize that construction management is more something that keeps you engaged.
And I realized as I was doing not one internship, but I did 2 internships, and I saw a lot of construction management is business. It's numbers. And I felt that program wasn't setting me up for success in that aspect. So I switched to business management. And so I did 4-year degree in 3 years. I did
Nice.
a year and a half in the construction management, and I did a year and a half in the business management. And I ended up with a business management degree, and I felt that helped me become more successful in towards what I wanted to do. Even though people might think, oh, why don't you just stick it out in the construction management engineering? It wasn't going to bring me to where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And
You knew what you were going to get out of it.
Exactly.
You know, you're not just doing it for because I understand what you're getting at. It's like the title is business management. So when you look at the piece of paper, someone will be like, well, it's not construction management. No, the skills that you got out of it
100%.
were more applicable to construction management than like I said, you don't need to know the engineering side. That's what we have engineers for. You wanted to understand the management side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I realized then I sucked at communicating. I wouldn't say that today, but I was not getting communication skills from that construction management engineering program. I got that from the business management program.
That's a really, really cool perspective at a young age to be like, I have skills that I need to hone in on.
I didn't know how to write an email.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest.
It's business.
Yeah, and I'm in a construction management program, and I'm like, I need to know how to write a proper email. So I taught myself right there. I went to business management. They taught me there was many different styles for different emails, and I started to realize like so much right there. And today I'm truly happy with the decision I made, switching. I think it pushed me to where I am today.
Yeah. So you go through business management because you knew you wanted to get into project managing, and then you start working in the field. So you start
Correct.
working with these, like you said, they're building Avalons.
So I end up right after school. I end up on Winans Village, on those big
It's a
multifamily builds.
huge project. Yeah.
Huge project.
Yeah, by the train station where they built up by the train station.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm project manager on there, and I start to see the corners being cut right there.
I've heard. I had friends who worked as subs for the Patchogue one.
Yep.
And they were just like, dude, it was
And
a lot of oversight.
there's a lot of oversight, but I started I was paying attention to construction, I would say, on all avenues. What's going on behind the scenes? What's going on directly in front of everybody? I started to watch construction in general, and I'm seeing the shady stuff. I'm seeing the stuff that's going well, and I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Because construction is different everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And
there's always room for improvement.
Exactly.
And there's a million, like, sometimes there can only be one way we could do it this time, but there's a million different ways to do things, and you need to know how to pivot because as a business manager, shit always hits the fan. It's not the first mistake, it's how we respond to the mistake. It's that next step that makes it either good or bad. So
correct. And I would say mistakes happen in construction every single day. It's exactly what you said, how do you respond to it? I would say that's what separates somebody who's good at construction versus somebody who's bad. It's taking care of whatever that mistake was. And I would say, like, That's something that I have highest on my priority. If a mistake happens, it's own it and take care of it right then and there.
So when you were working for a company still doing construction management, did you, like, when was the pivot from working for somebody to starting to do your own thing? Did you start doing projects on the side? I know your wife is the partner in the business?
So my wife is a partner. She's the design end
That's awesome.
of Husky Design and Build. I'm the build, she's the design. The way I look at construction is that there's 4 most important people that are in your build. And it starts with your construction manager, then your designer, your architects and engineers. Those are your 4 most important people. People tend to think that it's the contractor, and they're not the visionary. They're not the one that's going to make... Contractor's always going to tell you, hey, I'm done. But are they going to tell you what they didn't complete, what they are hiding from you? And that's my role. And I've been managing this for some time, so I know what to look for. Doesn't matter what the trade is, plumbing, electric, HVAC. I know what I'm looking for. Where are you cutting that corner? Because I've been watching you guys for some time, so I know where you're trying to cut. I know where you're not trying to cut. It's I would say pattern recognition. You start to see they do the same things over and over again. So
and if you don't say, I was just consulting a client. So I do a lot of energy code testing. So for new construction, it's paramount. So I was doing my pre-drywall just yesterday, and I noticed a couple things. And there's certain things I don't have to say. It's just stuff that I brought up because at the end, I know nobody has an answer for this. And when the house is done, that's not when we want to address these things. I want to address it when the walls are open. So I'm having the conversation with the client, and he appreciated it. And he was like, I just don't understand, like, why isn't this brought up? I was like, because honestly, they're not thinking of it. And if nobody says anything, nobody says anything. And at the end, they're going to be like, well, nobody said anything. So it's like, so I don't have to. You're not paying me to tell you. I'm seeing it with my eyes. I'm going to be like, this is something you need to consider before you install your kitchen and close up all your walls and blah, 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 blah. So it's just, I think people are either totally blind to it or hoping nobody says anything and they can just keep moving forward.
And right there is where I feel I fit tremendously, because it's what I do is versus a contractor is construction management. And if we go down that route that you were mentioning, we're talking change orders, we're talking all this nonsense that I know the client doesn't want. Because while I was working for other people, I was that project manager, and I sat across from my clients, and I had to hit them with bad news after bad news. And there was times where I'm like, wait a minute, I estimated properly for this.
Why is this happening?
Why are we in this scenario right now? Like, and then you find out, like, all right, the boss took money and the money's no longer there. Now you are in a scenario. So I'm not in those scenarios that I used to be in. So did
that, because going back to like hearing the transition, were you seeing problems in the industry that you were in, and that is what pushed you towards working for yourself because you wanted to do certain things your way?
I had such a problem with the way I was watching others run construction. And that's why I started Husky Design and Build. Well, started Husky Construction first, then the rebrand. But I started it to stop everything that I'm seeing. I have a big mission. I'm looking to change construction on Long Island. I want to see it done right. And what I'm seeing is not, if people are running off with money, like
it's too profitable to not do it right. That's the problem. And I doing some HVAC consulting recently, the client said, why hasn't nobody else told me what you said? I was like, because it's costing me money to tell you this. To do it the right way, I could have made much more money doing you wrong. You would have never known, and it is what it is. I said, but we're going to do it to the best practice, because that's a reoccurring thing for me. You have code and all that nonsense, and then we have the best practice. How do we try to stick to that best practice? And it's not profitable. It is less profitable to stick to the best practice. We had Chris Corcione. He does some nice carpentry stuff, and even just him talking about the tools he uses, the materials he uses, that all comes out of the bottom line.
Correct.
And once guys like you start using better materials and better tools, now the bathroom goes from $5,000 to $10,000, right? Round, like totally low fake numbers, right? But now everybody's going to charge $10,000, and they're going to use shit materials while you're using better materials. So it's like when you raise the price, all the other shitty guys are like, wait, I can get more for the bathroom, and it's like it's an uphill battle. Like raising the standard is an uphill battle.
I'm committed to raising the bar. I would say there's not an ounce of me that's not committed. And exactly what you said. So I speak to a lot of contractors and builders. There's guys out there that are like, I know the average bath is $20K. I'm charging $18, and I'm just throwing crappier materials in there. And I'm like, you're what's wrong with this
I
entire industry.
I know. It's so
I wish I could tell them.
I know.
But in my head, that's what's like battling me. And
know.
it's like, you're exactly what's wrong. You're going to put crappier material. So in 3 months, that toilet is no good. Like,
Well, I deal with it a lot with flips, like doing the home inspection side of it. We get so many
Flips.
dog shit flips. And my thing is like if I have friends who are contractors who they'll do flips as investments as they're also doing builds. And their tile guy doesn't know if this is a bathroom for a client or for a flip. So they're doing their same work across the board. So it's fine. It's a normal project. But there's so many flips where people who wouldn't, you sell bathrooms all the time. You sell kitchens all the time. You put your name on it. And you want people to know you did it.
Yeah.
When you have a flipper who you don't know who the builder is, they don't do it. They don't have the balls to sell a job to their neighbor, but they'll do a flip bathroom. That, like, to me, like, isn't that just mind blowing? Like, it's like, why, if they're so good at construction that they can flip a house, why aren't they contractors in general? Because they're not. They're not good at it, and the only way they could make money doing construction is by doing garbage work and overselling it because the real estate market is so inflated.
I mean, I probably any flip out there, it's all kills. That's all you're using.
It's just exactly.
You're covering mold. That's
Dude,
it.
so the problem is it's almost like negligence and like people, you know, I hate that. Like I have a lot of real estate investment friends, you know, and I like them, but this isn't the ones that I know that I'm talking about, but I follow a lot of people in real estate, and they'll post videos of them walking through their future flip. They're like, oh, the full gut reno in Medford, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, you got half the drywall still up. It's pink. So I know that that's not new drywall. That's been there for 40 years. And I know in a month when you sheetrock, you're not taking that so it's not a full gut. You just took down whatever wall you need to take down to open up the floor plan. You're going to paint over whatever nonsense is still there. You go in the attic, it's got the original insulation. There's no rewire. They didn't change any of the mechanicals. That's not a full gut. That's a lipstick flip. And that's like the overwhelming majority of it. But they get away with it, and they make good money doing it.
And it's just, I feel people are just uneducated, and they have no idea what they're purchasing. And if I've gone on my stories, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've literally told people stop buying these shitty flips.
So what I did, and it's funny because like I've gotten to the point now, like real estate agents know when to call me, when not to call me, and they call me when they want their buyer protected. So I did one for a buyer, and it was a big, beautiful house up on the North Shore. It's 7 figures, I'm sure. And the guy made good money. It was him and his wife, and yada yada. And he was like really adamant about certain things. So I was like, this guy's gonna want. He thinks this house is brand new, and I know what it is. It's a flip. So I just do a lap around the outside, and I see so much shit work. So this is what I did. I said, listen, let's change the perspective. We're not doing a home inspection. Let's pretend you just paid this contractor to do a remodel on your house. I want to go through and point out certain things, and you tell me, would you be happy if you were about to give him his final payment, his final 50 grand? Would you? And I pointed out all the stupid things that they didn't even notice because they're looking at the house and it's pretty and it's new, and they were like, holy shit. And I was like, yeah, don't pretend you already own the house, and now you have to pay the guy for the work. Would you accept this? And they're like, no. I was like, well, that's what you're doing with the flip. You're just paying for them, like they already did the work, and now you're paying for them. Like you didn't get a chance to hire them. And yeah, obviously we fucking left that. We left that house immediately because they're like, yeah, they thought they were buying something new. They're buying something that they're going to have to fix everything in the next 36 months because they just duct taped everything together, essentially.
I realize this comes down to so much education. They're just so unaware of everything. And it's having you buy that side when they're going to purchase a home, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Same thing, having me by their side as they're building it, it's tremendous because essentially, if I'm on your build, there should be no reason that you need to be showing up
exactly,
on the homeowner section.
Yeah.
In fact, on every single one of my builds, I've always asked my clients at the end, hey, it's punch list time. And I've never had a client that actually made me do a walkthrough on the punch list. They've always said the same thing. I watched you walk 20,
you punch
30.
list the entire time.
That's been my role in the past. I've been the punch list guy. So my role is to make sure that my clients do not have a punch list. That's how I want to build. And it's a different mentality, I would say.
I think there's something about the psychology of certain homeowners too, like you're not the cheapest guy because you're a quality guy. So the person willing, they probably have a little bit more of a stable brain than, you know, like some of these clients that they want the cheapest price, but they want the best products. They're the ones who go around the house and put 8,000 pieces of blue tape on it. It's like, well, you got what you paid for. 100%. Like you're saying, essentially, they know they trust you. You've been doing that the whole time where they don't even have to go back and do that.
And that's exactly I'm transparent. Like I said, I'm managing it. I'm not physically doing it. So it's like, as it's being built, I'm with my clients saying, hey, this is just temporary. I'm going to fix that. Don't worry. And I'm pointing out everything to my clients.
Yeah, it's a transparency. So there's trust there. They know.
Tremendous trust.
They don't have to second guess. Like, is this guy gonna?
I'm pointing out what my team's doing wrong.
I saw a post on Facebook in a homeowners group. I follow a lot of homeowners groups, and it was they hired a handyman to just do a tile backsplash. And so the guy he did his tile. He grouted it. And he did his first wipe down, and then he went and got lunch, and there was the haze over it. Mm-hmm. So the post was like, it had like 7,000 reactions because everyone was laughing at it. They're like, oh my God, this guy, did he just ruin the tile backsplash and leave? And it's like, they panicked for the entire hour the guy was at lunch.
Need another wipe down.
Yeah, and the homeowner just needed an explanation of like, don't worry, I promise at the end it'll be fine. This is totally normal. But it's like when you leave people up to their own devices, and they didn't have that trust already, they just panic.
Their minds just wander, and That's exactly why I set up my company the way I set it up. My clients don't talk to the electrician. They don't talk to the carpenters. They don't talk to the plumbers. They only talk to me and my wife.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everything comes from them. We understand them. We are now executing their vision. I go to the electrician and make sure he's understanding what's going on. Hey, light fixture here.
Yeah.
Everything's pinpoint.
Yeah. You're managing the project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's full white glove service, I would say. I'm here to change construction on Long Island and do it in a way that nobody's done it.
So one of the questions I had was, what is your biggest issue with single family residential construction? And that's kind of what we've been talking about. And why do you think that is? And we kind of touched on it. I think people are greedy. I think contractors are greedy and homeowners don't know enough, right? So a follow-up to that would be like, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that we're in this position where homeowners don't know enough, they're getting taken advantage of, contractors are too greedy to not do the right thing? Like, whose fault is it? Who can we blame the fault on?
That's a great question.
It's tough.
Let's blame the system.
Yeah.
But that's where I feel like the system works in the way it does, but you got to know who to go to. And that's where when people approach me, it's like, I'm not the one doing the work, but I know who to approach for everything. You have mold. I know who to go to. This is a plumbing issue. I know who to go to.
Yeah.
That's it, and it's just the knowledge of that, and that's what they're lacking. When that's all I do is just knowing who to go to, and I know who to go to fast. I'm solving problems. I'm a project manager.
I know.
That's all my mindset is problem solution.
Yeah.
I never go to a client with a problem.
Yeah.
It's problem. Here's the solution.
Yeah.
Solution's already in motion,
Yeah.
or
Let's
solution's
make a decision.
already been taken care of.
Yeah.
I'd never approach a client with just a problem. It's a different mindset, I would say.
Yeah.
I know contractors just want to, I didn't see this, but here's the problem. That's not, I would never approach a client in that aspect.
Yeah.
That would make me look bad.
Yeah.
If I didn't see something, that means I didn't do my job right.
Yeah. So thinking about it too is like, and a recurring theme we've had with contractors is a lot of the advice they've given is like how to vet out the contractors that they're hiring, because you that part of the process the homeowner's not going to know until they're already hired them. So I think a huge component that we don't consider is the interview process of hiring your general contractor. Getting multiple bids, asking certain questions. Is there anything, like I said, if you were consulting a friend out of state who you can't do the project for, what advice would you give them in their hunt and in their interview process of hiring a contractor? What are things they should ask or look out for?
I would spend a lot of time in pre-construction.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get clarity. Mm-hmm. If you're just rushing construction, expect no clarity, expect a lot of mistakes. Spend time budgeting yourself. First off, spend time thinking about your budget. What are you looking to spend on this kitchen, bathroom, full home? Then I would approach somebody like myself, a construction manager.
So the planning phase is that's a really interesting point, because I found too that doing the work that I do, the manual J's, the HERS ratings, architects will approach me, mm-hmm. and it's new construction or a major addition alteration where the planning phase is forced by the code department. Mm-hmm. But I think that that's definitely the biggest surprise for people is they don't realize how long that planning phase is. And then on projects where if they're just going to remodel their kitchen, they're not going to pull a permit. People do not consider the planning phase at all. They want to call a contractor. I saw this tile on Pinterest, and they want to have their kitchen done within 6 weeks. Where there's no consideration for the planning phase. So I actually really like that. Is like what are we doing before we even start construction?
You just set yourself up for failure if you just skip the entire planning phase. So that's exactly what me and my wife do, and as well as architects and engineers. And that's where I would say we are the four most important people in a construction build. It's the architects, engineers, designers, and construction managers. It's taking that time out to think about your build before you even enter a build. 'Cause that's why you're like, wait, I'm double the amount that I thought I was going to spend. You spent no time planning.
Yeah.
That right there. Or why did the quality not come? Because you spent no time planning.
So we're doing. I'm partnering up on an HVAC install in out east, and the install is being held up because now they want to relay out the floor plan a little bit because the planning phase didn't consider how are we going to run ducts in this. There's no areas to run ducts. There's no areas to run returns. They realized at that point. Originally, they were like, oh, we're just going to run a system in the basement. They don't want floor returns. So now they're going to have to run stuff up the walls. And it's heating and cooling, so you should have some up high. They don't have enough space. You know what I mean? These are things that my good architects, and like so a lot of design build, I love design build because we're considering design. It's not just picking tile, it's designing everything about it. That stuff is decided beforehand.
I feel architects are phenomenal. They're great. But how are they helping you when it comes to sequencing? They're not the build portion. They're the design portion.
It's their one spot.
Same thing with my wife. She's an interior designer. She's a licensed interior designer. I would say she's just as equipped as an architect. I would say.
I've met some really, really good heavy hitter interior designers that understand very deeply the architectural side of what they do. Some of them are drafters.
My wife and I, we both worked in an architecture firm for some time. She spent 3 years there, and she led the design department. So but that's not her role in construction. It's not the build end. But people are approaching architects and designers and expecting them to know sequencing and know the build portion. That's not their role.
100%. That's not their lane.
Exactly. And that's where I'm very well versed in whose lane should we be in. We're in pre-construction. We probably should be in front of an architect or designer right now. All right, now we're going to build. Who's the build though? And it's never a handyman. Never a handyman. It's plumbers.
Everyone has their role.
Exactly. It's your electrician shouldn't be doing your framing. I've seen this on other people's.
My joke is always it's like when I see a really garbage foot and I try to explain to them, they're like, why is it bad? Because everyone thinks everyone's like Bob the Builder, and it's like they're not. And I'm like, the guy putting the shingles on shouldn't be touching an electrical outlet. In his own house, go right ahead. I said, but not on something that you're going to pay people for. It's not happening.
100%. And that's where I put my foot down. Plumber is doing plumbing, not a carpenter or not a handyman. It's an electrician.
The plumber likes to hack up the carpenter's work when they want to get their toilet plumbing in. But
I would say I built a pretty decent team where my plumber will approach me, hey,
we got to move this.
If I do this, this is going to affect that. And that's the team I built. That's the relationships I built. And that's what's you don't realize you're getting with teamwork. And if you're a homeowner and you're like, I'll just do this, I'll GC this myself. You're not going to have a coordinated team.
No, there's no relationships there, and like the communication between the trades is so important. And going back to my conversation today, where the guy was like, "Whose responsibility is?" I was like, "It could be the contractors, it could be the electricians, it could be yours, it could be the architects. What did you guys come to an agreement on?" It's never was spoken about. You never communicated it, so. But a lot of homeowners want to GC it themselves because they want to save. But I'm like, unless you have so much time to lose and so much extra money to spend, like there's a reason good GC. It's unless you really just want to have fun with it and you just say screw it. Like there's a reason. Like GCs aren't just for the rich and famous people who don't have better time. Like GCs are for people who want a certain product to come out in a good time. So I do. I hear it a lot where people are like, we're just gonna do it ourselves, and it's like, ugh.
It just blows my mind, especially you got somebody like me that I feel like I changed the game completely. In 18 months, not a single change order. And that's because we're designed out properly. We know exactly what we're doing before we build. Everything's coordinated with the client. Client sees my build beforehand. That's what my wife does. She's giving them a drawing, showing them exactly what it's going to look like before we even build.
Yeah.
And that's tremendous.
So what I hear from an experience standpoint is how much focus and intention you put on the planning phase and the prep phase. And it's not that you're a magician and you know everything that's going to happen in the job. No, you just are properly prepared, and you did, and it's so that is a huge part of what's making, in your experience, your jobs go smoothly, is how much work you put into the before.
100%.
We're not just winging it.
Exactly. And
which I think is a lot of it. A lot of it is winging it. A lot of it is like square, round estimates.
And that's...
And it's just, it means nothing. And it's a $60,000 change order at the end.
I'd love to talk about estimates, and that's the thing. You're going, as a homeowner, you're going and you're getting a free estimate. That's the worst thing you could do. Why not say to yourself, all right, I have $100,000 to spend on this kitchen. That's my budget. Let me go approach somebody. Not, let me go and quote this out from 3 guys. You're searching for the bottom of the barrel right there.
Yeah.
And you're putting guys against each other to compete against a low build.
Yeah.
That's not going to bring quality.
Yeah.
That's going to bring the exact
they
opposite.
need to have an idea of where they want to be price-wise, and then that can set a realistic expectation of what this project is.
Yeah, for me, you give me a price, that changes everything. Because now it tells me, shit, I can't go to my plumber. He's going to be too expensive.
Yeah.
I got to go to a less expensive plumber than I normally use.
Yeah, exactly. You have different levels of different degrees of guys. Exactly. We all have multiple people.
Exactly.
Yeah, we know that this one he's going to charge double, but it's going to be perfect, where it's like the other one's going to be more normal, but he's more realistic price. Yeah.
I spend a lot, I'll tell people straight up, I don't swing a hammer, I don't use a drill. I do construction from my computer. And that's me. You told me your budget, but you also told me all these wants and wishes, and they do not align together, your budget and your wants and wishes. So now I have to sit at my computer and spend a lot of times weeks and trying to figure out where am I allocating money to make sure that this comes out the way it comes out, and making sure that it comes out beautiful, because my wife's putting the top of the line materials in there, and making sure that the subs are executing it properly. So people don't realize, before I even collect a check, I'm spending probably 5 hours with my plumber, 7 hours with my electrician before I even collected a check.
Yeah.
And it's, all right, this is the plan of attack on this entire build. I spend a lot of time in preparation mode.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, other people like Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, they did the same thing.
Yeah, it's thousands of... I remember talking about Tiger Woods, like peak Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
He took like 5,000 swings a day or something disgusting.
You got to put in
all the work
work
before. Yeah.
It's all the prep work. And it's not even just myself. It's my painter. It's my plumber. They're coming in doing that prep work too. 'Cause you can't just... You could just paint.
Yeah.
It'll come out crappy.
Yeah.
You got to prep those walls.
Yeah, exactly. We had one of our early guests was Dane Carlson of Carlson Paint and Paper, and the biggest thing he said was, he was like, it's all in the prep work.
It's all in the prep work.
Applying the paint is probably the simplest step. He was like, it's all in the prep. It's all in
people don't
the
realize
good tools in the prep.
But homeowners, they're just going to Home Depot and buying a paint can. They don't buy a sanding block to sand everything down and spackle and fill in those holes. They're not doing all that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of prep work.
Yeah, there's a different standard. Like I said, if you're doing it for yourself, that's fine. But when somebody's giving somebody money for something, that's got to be, we got to be using best practices. People work hard for their money. Long Island is an expensive place. The second you're a professional at it and you're charging, and I think that's a big thing in construction too, is that people get, how hard is it to contract a shitty job out? To contract a shitty job out, you can find the cheapest guys. Everything looks pretty when it's brand new to the untrained eye.
Yep.
It's not hard to make the thing happen, and I think people are like, oh, I'm a builder now. Oh, I'm a contractor now. And they just start to do it, and they don't realize, like, one, they're putting out a shitty product, or on the business end of it, sometimes they're not, they don't have the right insurances, and that whole thing is a mess. But I think that's a big issue with it too. Is it's it's easy to get into it, and it's easy if you're good at selling. It's easy to sell jobs.
I agree.
It's hard to do it right.
And I love that I'm doing this podcast with you because I'm sure you are in this scenario all the time because I know I am. I'll demo something and a client will say, "Oh yeah, that's my kitchen exhaust." As soon as I demo that wall, your kitchen exhaust wasn't connected. Behind the wall, nothing was ran. And it's like, I could do that too if I wanted to, but what does that achieve? That
one of the points I was talking about this morning was I saw it was a bathroom exhaust fan, and the other bathroom exhaust fans were installed, and this one had no duct running to it, and it was a spray foam hot roof, so you're not installing anything anymore. Whatever's installed is going to be installed. And the best part was it was just like a pitch like this, and the vent was sticking out that way. So I said, between the spray foam, the pitch of the roof, and once you sheetrock, the guy's going to be crawling on his belly to get... I said, nobody's ever going to install that duct. And that's what I said, that has nothing to do with me. It's not one of the mechanical ventilation bathroom vents. I don't have to talk about it. But I was like, that ain't getting installed. And he was like, I didn't even know to think about that. And I was like, I don't even care if you don't install it now. I was like, just rotate it 180 degrees. So in a year from now, when somebody decides to do it, at least they can get it done. But if nobody said anything,
and that's
it would never happen.
People don't realize, like, you hired the contractor. He's always going to tell you he's done. You need to hire somebody who's overseeing everything. Yeah. And it's not the contractor because they're always going to tell you what you want to hear. And that's the thing. From day one, like I mentioned transparency, but I'm telling the clients not what they want to hear, but what's going to happen. And that's what's building the trust as well. That's what's getting that transparency out there. I tell them straight up, this is going to suck.
Yeah. I know. I love telling when people are buying a house that's like a total fixer-upper. Like they laugh because I'm so nonchalant about it. I'm like, it's going to be a horrible process. You're going to be agita for 3 months. I was like, but it's worth it in the end. Yeah. I was like, but it ain't fun. There's a reason why people don't do it every year. Like
I tell them, I'm like, look, this is going to suck, but I'm here for this time, and I promise I will not be here for more than 2 weeks after that time.
Once we're done, we're done. Yeah,
because I feel like I do a lot. Like I mentioned, changing this entire, especially here on Long Island, I'm trying to change so much. Not just the change orders, it's like I'm taking care of what's behind the wall, and I'm not charging the client. And I feel like people don't realize what I'm offering. They have no idea what I'm offering.
Yeah.
I had, on a kitchen I just did, demoed, half the header is missing. Somebody cut half the header out.
Yeah.
That's structural.
Yeah.
Here I am.
It's money.
Time and money.
Yeah.
My plumber comes to me. He's like, "You didn't have to say anything."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I know. I didn't have to do that."
Yeah.
And he's many times I'm in that scenario of you didn't have to say anything to the client. You didn't have to. I know.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do the right thing.
I'll spend that extra money, sometimes thousands of dollars.
Well, I think that's part of building out the team in general too. Is that when people when working on, I'm on the grunt construction side of it. So I was, I would have been the carpenter on the job that you were doing, and so I worked with a different population of guys, and there could be a lot, how some of the construction guys, there could be a lot of toxicity and negativity, and all it took is one miserable bastard on a crew to fucking ruin everything. Right? So I use that perspective in the inverse, is like, you doing the right thing, it sets the standard for everyone that works for you. Mm-hmm. And the second one of your guys does the wrong thing, you're like, that's not how I would have fucking done it. Mm-hmm. And they would have felt, and it's like you call them out on it. It's like when you raise the bar, it raises everyone else around you. In the same sense, it's like when you do shitty work and nobody cares, then nobody's going to care. But that's why I like to constantly hold myself to a higher standard, try my best, and then I think the people around you, especially the ones that work for you and want to impress you, they're not going to be cutting corners when they know, on your own dime, you're taking care of things, you're doing it the right way.
People have no idea, what I'm building out is almost like a double-edged sword, because my clients are seeing, yes, I'm all about quality, but on the reverse end, nobody realizes how many contractors are approaching me and that are saying, hey, I do quality work, I'm really good. And people are coming to me that actually give a crap.
Yeah.
And people don't realize,
See, and I'm glad you say that, because that's what I've found too, is that the more we want to highlight the quality and expose the shit, the more quality is being shown to me, and that's what I think the coolest thing is. It's not we're the only ones who do it right. We're one of the few who are trying our best to do it right, and if you are one of the guys that's trying to, like, let's work together to keep the standard higher and to keep putting out good work. Because I think at the end of the day, I say this with any business I do. You want to use somebody else, that's fine. Let me know who they are, and I will tell you to use them or not. Because I don't want you going with somebody shitty. If you're going to not use me, use one of my competitors that I know are fucking stand-up guys that are going to give you a rock. Because I'm not the only good guy. I'm one of a few, but there's guys out there that I know, they're not going to do a good job. There's guys out there that I know, like, yeah, you know what? Solid guy. I would actually hire him myself. You know? And that's what I've found is by exposing it, it has introduced me to more people who are like-minded. And we can, as an industry, try to raise the standard because you can't do it alone. I mean, because the point of raising the industry standard is for everybody to do a better job.
100%. People just don't think like, I hired an inspector, everything was covered. They don't realize there's levels to inspectors.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
They have no idea. They think, oh, the inspector's there, I'm good, I'm covered. But that's the thing, people don't realize, stop making assumptions.
Yeah, stop making assumptions is a great point.
Stop making assumptions.
Ask questions.
Exactly.
Ask what's not being covered in a thing. I'm big on proposals. I love telling people exactly what I'm doing and exactly what I'm not doing. And the funniest thing is I like to try and build trust with my clients in every way. And one of the best ways to build trust is to tell you exactly what I'm not doing. Tell you, no, I'm not doing that. This is what you should do.
Exactly.
And if they're like, okay, well, if he's telling me the truth.
Set boundaries, because contractors they want to just yes you to death, and they don't want to tell you what's truly going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's where I rather prepare my client, and if that means that they're going to go with somebody else, that's fine, because I rather let you know what's going to happen. And I can't tell you how many people are like, no, that number's too much, but they don't realize I'm not charging it. I'm taking, this is just a budget.
Yeah.
All I do is take industry standards, pricing wise, and plug numbers in.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't do anything that's special.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the industry standards and numbers, and it's, if you're not at that, you're not getting what you're looking for done.
Yeah.
And people will still try and, oh no, let me do this build.
Yeah, it's
I get that call all the time.
It's not going to magically be 40% less to get the same thing done. If it's 40% less in our markets, something isn't right. And that's one of the things that we've had contractors try to explain too is like proposal reading, understanding what you're getting with a proposal. The proposal is not apples to apples. And if it is significantly different, there should be like a third party estimate reading service just so they can.
People think kitchen to kitchen is apples to apples.
Yeah, it's not at all.
What cabinetry line are you using? Because guess what? You could use a 1/2 inch cabinet line or a 3/4 inch. Guess what? That 3/4 inch is going to be much more quality.
We had Nick Anthony Woodworking coming. He's a cabinet builder, he's the man, and stuff's up there. So I had him. I said, "Tell me all the little tips to expose cheap cabinets." And he went through his list of things, and it was so funny because within 10 days of that, I was doing an inspection for a family friend. He was buying a really, really nice house, and they're like, "It's a $100,000 kitchen," and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "I don't think this one's it, man." And I was pointing out all the little things where I was like, "This isn't a $100,000 kitchen." Like, it was still nice, it was still fine. It was like, but see where the quality is. Maybe they did spend $100,000 that you got taken advantage of. I was like, but I want you to know that this doesn't have that value that they're putting it on, you know?
And that's, I would say, like, that's value is something that's huge to me. And return on your investment, that's all I'm thinking about. And that's what I'm thinking about in that pre-construction as well. While I'm budgeting you out, is this going to bring you a return, or how high of a return will it bring you? Is it worth going for a less expensive material here? That's all decisions I'm making, and people don't realize
where we can save and where we should spend, where it's going to actually make a difference. All right, so I have because we're getting close to the end, I have a question of, because we talked a lot about you doing the process and take this how you want, right? But what is the main outcome you hope to get out of the transaction that you're selling? The main outcome, either for yourself, for the client, for the product, however you want to take that. But what is the main thing you hope to get out of that process?
I would say trust. That's all I'm building throughout from day one is just trust. And that's all I...
Yeah, because if they trust you at the end, that
but
means
they
everything
trust me from day one.
Yeah, I'm saying if they still trust you at the end. At the end of the process, they still trust you, then it went right.
Yeah, I mean, well, I established that trust throughout.
Yeah.
So maybe I misunderstood your question, and if I didn't answer that properly.
No, it's good. I just
Okay.
said, what was the main outcome
Okay.
do you hope to get out of a transaction?
Okay.
So you're saying like trust. Yeah,
Okay.
you can gain trust. What I've heard some contractors say, the lesser contractors are like, if you're going to ask for a review from a client, ask for them in the beginning, because at the end they don't even want to look at you anymore. And like I get it, it's a gruesome process, but it's so what I hear when you're like, I hope to get trust out of the transaction. I hear but I hear it in a positive light where it's like if they still trust you at the end of the transaction, everything went right.
So, to relate that to what you just said about like a testimony at the end, I'm getting video testimonies from my clients at the end.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. I started thinking, I'm like, I don't see. You'll get a written testimony from the client.
I know, but video testimony is dope. Yeah,
getting a video testimony, that means like that client really trusted you. They saw that you went above and beyond. That's why they're willing to do that video testimony. And people don't realize, like, just me having that, it's because of that I built that trust. They saw what I went through, and they saw me not back down from anything, and that's why. Hey, I'm willing to do this video testimony for you because I saw everything that you put in for me.
I love it. All right, so last thing, I want to do a quick minute, the quickest way you can do it, right?
Yeah.
I want you to give me the biggest, simplest way you can put it, the breakdown of, from a homeowner's perspective, going with a quality contractor versus going with the cheap guy. What are the outcomes? Like, what is going to happen to the homeowner when they go from the quality guy and what they're going to get when they go with the cheap guy?
So your cheap guy, your difference is right up front, it's pricing, right? But your cheap guy, you're not getting the proper timeline up front. They're telling you what you want to hear. They might tell you this build might take 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Be prepared for it to take over 3 months. Mm-hmm. I would say that. And in terms of quality, I wouldn't expect that quality to be there. Have low expectations.
Yeah.
If you're going with the quality guy, I would say have the proper expectations because they're probably going to just deliver exactly what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Coming to timeline, for me, I'm sticking to your budget, not going $1 over, and I'm sticking to my timeline. Just when it comes to the timeline, just realize, like I told you a timeline up front. Remember, when I demoed, I'm taking care of extra things. Extra things that I'm taking care of don't happen within that same timeline.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
this
things
now,
change. Yeah,
this is extra timeline.
Yeah.
So people have that misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I'm very upfront about that. Just realize if I said 4 weeks and it took me 5 weeks because of the extras that I took care of.
Of course. Yeah.
That's that difference.
Yeah.
But that's what you're going to get with quality.
Yeah. An explainable difference in timeline is different versus, hey, we're gonna knock this out, and then you don't hear from them for 6 weeks, and then they show up and they work 2 hours and they come at 12 and they leave at 2. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
classic disaster stuff.
I open up your walls and I see your exhaust isn't hooked up at all. So now I got to run that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So those are the things that I do that I feel are the differences that everybody should have.
I love it. That's perfect, man. Perfect answer. So we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to plug your Instagram, let the people know where to find you.
Husky Design and Build on Instagram, and my wife is the luxury designer.
Awesome. Maybe we'll have her back on next time. We can get her
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, get her perspective on things. That'd be great. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
For more stuff, to see what Dave's got going on, give him a follow. And thank you guys so much for tuning in again. Until next time, stay knowledgeable.